Loch Kelly is a meditation teacher and psychotherapist. Additionally, he collaborates with neuroscientists at Yale, UPenn, and NYU to study how awareness training can enhance compassion and well-being. Loch has a new book out called Shift into Freedom, The Science and Practice of Open-Hearted Awareness. Welcome, Loch. Nice to have you here.
Thank you, Kathy. Great to be here.
Yes, it's good to have my fellow New Yorker here, sitting here.
That's right.
So in this segment, we're going to be talking about a practice.
Great.
And do you want to introduce the practice?
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I'll say a little about, I think, for people who have been practicing meditation or those who are new, it's important to know why we're doing it, which is the reason to do meditation. There's a tremendous amount of studies that have been done that show it benefits us on many levels, from stress management to physical blood pressure reduction to a sense of our brains actually lighting up in areas of joy and compassion, a sense of well-being on the psychological level. People feel like their anxiety is relieved and their depression is lifted at some times with certain meditations. And so it's really a way to kind of upgrade your brain, upgrade your operating system of your consciousness. And so it's not, doesn't have to be religious, it doesn't even have to be called spiritual, but there are traditions that go back to the most ancient times where people found ways to feel better and be more themselves by doing small shifts of consciousness, shifts of awareness. And that's really my interest is in studying the most, in some ways, the most advanced practices, but fortunately the most advanced are the most simple.
Really?
Yeah. So what we'll be doing is we'll be doing a way of shifting our awareness or opening up a contracted or constricted place or point of view that makes us feel like we're in this small, bound body and mind, almost like we're in a cloud, and we're trying to clean up the cloud of thoughts and feelings all the time. And what we're going to do is we're going to open up so that we actually experience our consciousness that's more like the sky. And when we open to that...
And that's open awareness.
And that's kind of open or panoramic awareness, which is the name of this particular glimpse practice. So when we open our awareness out of this bind of kind of dualistic subject-object, small sense of self that's trying to manage this entire emotional body and world and try to keep ourselves together and do better and get ahead and try to think and smile while you feel better and put positive thoughts in there instead of negative. We're just going to step out of the whole system, discover there's a natural dimension of spacious awareness available, and then from there we'll have a quiet mind. And then as that awareness comes back and includes our body, we'll feel as if there's more room. We'll have dropped from head to heart, and we'll feel in a fairly short amount of time that we're operating from a place that we often feel when we've walked in nature or we've played sports or we've gone into what's called a flow state. So it's not a detached mental zoning out or spacing out or kind of being so calm that we're half asleep. It's actually this flow state, which we'll shift into, is the way that we can operate and live and relate to others from our heart and from actually the most optimal type of consciousness that allows our functioning and thoughts and feelings to be used and included as needed, but not dominate us.
So you're saying this open awareness type practice that we're going to be doing in a minute is a flow state. And so,
Yes.
And what you mean by that, correct me if I'm wrong,
Yep.
is that instead of being, like you said, the sort of spaced out, airy thing,
Yep.
it's more like we're sort of, can I say super focused, super concentrated, like really present and really aware. Can I say
Yep.
that?
You can say super, very aware, but not focused like a like a laser or like a telescope, but people who are in flow state are people who actually can play a violin, concert violin without thinking about what they're doing. Or you can do, a basketball player like a point guard is aware of everything going on. Time almost slows down. They're completely able to do fast calculations and be in the flow, connected to others, notice what's going on. So it's almost like time slows down, everything becomes soft, but highly optimal in that you don't have to check the screen of your mind every second to think about thinking. Mm-hmm. So there's almost a trust or a kind of a opening up and surrendering back to this higher dimension of consciousness that we can actually live better from.
It sounds good though. It sounds like a nice thing to be able to be present.
Yes.
And are you saying that we can kind of be in that flow thing more?
Yes. So people often get into flow states through doing. Often it's talked about you do 10,000 hours of something. So somebody plays a violin for 10,000 hours, plays basketball for 10,000 hours, does a very complex task, and becomes an expert at doing, even computer work or whatever they do. You kind of get in a zone. You get in a flow. So what I'm saying is we've done 10,000 hours of walking, 10,000 hours of talking, 10,000 hours of relating to other people, 10,000 hours of languaging, 10,000 hours. So if we, rather than doing an extreme activity to get into a flow state, what I'm saying is let's shift into the flow state and then do ordinary activities. And what that feels like is very calm, very related. You're not projecting thoughts onto other people. You feel like there's more room for your own emotions to arise. So you're not transcendent, you're actually more embodied, and yet you have more space and more support, a sense of more openness, open-mindedness, open-heartedness.
I want to know more about the glimpse. You mentioned something about glimpse,
Yes.
and I don't know what that is.
Okay, so glimpse, this approach, sometimes I call it small glimpses many times during the day. Mm-hmm. So rather than long periods of meditation, like even 20 minutes of leaving, closing your eyes, finding a quiet place, and even doing 20 minutes of focused, retreat-oriented meditation on one point, like your breath, a glimpse can happen in a moment. We can learn to shift our awareness, just unhook awareness from thought, and feel like awareness could drop to feel your jaw from within, feel your throat from within, and awareness could drop down into your heart space in a moment, and then just not look up to thought and not look down from thought, but feel like your awareness has actually stepped out and then dropped down. And then what you do is you're glimpsing a new state. You're glimpsing from a new state, actually, is really kind of a stateless state that lets states of mind and emotional states come and go.
I want to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we?
Yes. So we'll do one that is. I often use natural doorways. So the one I just described quickly of dropping into your senses from your head to your body, and then others come to the ear and go out. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our eyes, because I thought since we're doing this on video and or on a visual medium, that we would use a way of opening our peripheral vision. We're going to open our peripheral vision, which actually isn't moving our eyes at all. Our eyes are kind of, just as our ears are open and receiving sound, our eyes are open. But we're going to open awareness to the side, almost like we're sitting on a beach looking out at the sand and the water and then the sky. And then we're going to open the awareness around and then have that awareness unhook from seeing and have it become aware of the space in which sound is coming and going, and almost feel as if awareness can open 360 degrees behind our head in a way to open our view and our feeling of giving us more space And then we're actually going to look from that space as if we can have a bird's eye view, and then feel as if that space is kind of the source of our mind, or where we're knowing from, is kind of alert, awake space. And then that open space remains open while we feel like we're also including our thoughts, feelings, and sensations from within. And in that way, we've just kind of glimpsed or shifted out of a contracted sense of a little entity looking out of our eyes that's trying to deal with everything, looking to past situations, projecting worst-case scenarios into the future and trying to manage our life. And we're shifting into this kind of feeling of open, clear, and capable, able to respond and relate from this new dimension of awake mind.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, so that's the description. So why don't I lead us through it?
Okay.
And so simply, as you're looking at the screen, or as you're looking at me, just allow yourself to sit comfortably, and your eyes can be open, and then begin to feel as if you're looking, at the space between you and the screen, rather than at an object like a TV or a screen. Look at the space like and then you could even put your hand up and drop your hand, just look at that space. Or you could look above the TV and just listen. And then what you're doing is as if you're sitting on a beach or looking out over a sky, or you could even look out over a window if you like. Just begin to slowly open your peripheral vision. And by that, I mean just open the awareness out to the sides, just gently without straining both sides. So take your time, whatever. If you feel like there's a strain, just relax and go slower. But as awareness opens, you'll notice that you're able to see more clearly the periphery of the sides of your head. So as awareness opens, it can actually let go of seeing when it reaches its limits. And this awareness can become aware of the space in which sound is coming and going to the side of your head. Just in a way that you don't know quite how it's happening. And then just let that awareness, just feel as if this awareness is where you're located, and the awareness is just opening to become aware of the space behind you. So you almost feel as if there's this 360-degree panoramic awareness, and you can almost feel as if there's a soft lens this way too. And as you open, and especially interestingly feel to the sides and behind you, this space, just ask yourself, am I aware of the spacious awareness, or what is it like when I'm aware from the spacious awareness? So feel as if your view is open and you're aware from this space. You've opened to it, and now you're aware from this space. And as this open space, feel as if you can come back and feel into spacious and then also pervasive within you in a continuous field of awareness that's open and embodied. So you feel as if your whole body from head to toe, you feel like you're aware from within and also from all around. And just notice that drop from head to heart, so you're contacting this space that's awake, and the space that's awake is your mind that's aware now of thoughts, feelings, and sensations rather than from thoughts, feelings, sensations. So what's it like to feel like you are this spacious awareness that's aware of thoughts, feelings, and sensations that formerly were known as you, or formerly were the center of you? And just feel this sense of openness and natural inclusion, welcoming, and a feeling of open-heartedness as you just relax and notice that you're knowing without referring to thought. Without looking up to thought, there's an awake, embodied quality, and you've kind of unplugged from the looking to the screen of your mind as you're able to just see and be and see from being. So just smile, let a smile come to your face, and breathe in cool air. And just feel natural and relaxed, and just notice this sense of ease and openness and embodiment, and see how you feel. And you can continue if you like. You could pause or continue to sit here for a while, or come back and try this again later.
So we're basically using our vision as like a doorway into this kind of an open awareness, the
That's right.
sensing all the field around us.
That's right.
And when I first started to do the visual part,
Yeah.
it was hard actually.
Okay.
And I, like, one eye seemed, I don't know, stronger, right? Like there was something that was like pulling me off to one side.
Yes.
And
then after you did it a few times?
well, it was still a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what I find is this is one particular glimpse practice, and I find when I do like 4 of them in an evening, that I'll say, now how many people like this one, and I'll get 1/4 like this one, 1/4 like going to the ear, one like the eye, one dropping into the body, one opening up directly into space. And so each learning style and each person has a doorway.
Or maybe even different days or whatever.
Different days, yeah.
Depends upon what's happening.
That's right.
Do you think that this is a practice that we could do, you know, on the New York City subway? I mean,
Yeah.
You think so?
I do it on the subway.
You do
all
on the
time.
subway?
Yeah.
It seems like a good one because it, you know, like there's a lot about the city where you don't want to really tune out,
That's right.
You know, you don't want to like, I don't know. I mean, it's fine, but you know, like you don't want to close down, and so it seems like to do a meditation practice in which you're sort of aware, you know, but in this really interesting, big way, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like it replaces a coffee break. You could just step outside, sit on a bench, or you could look out the window at your office. Just turn around, look out the window, or just look off into some space and just do this, and nobody even knows what you're doing. You look above your computer, and you know, they're just saying, well, he looks happy, or she looks very happy. But I don't know what they're doing. Are they daydreaming?
Maybe they need more work.
What happens is that you're actually shifting into a meditative consciousness that's already has your eyes open, so you're able to transition right into typing or talking or walking, rather than making it this time apart where you're escaping and then you have to come back to normal functioning. So really what we're doing is we're shifting into this flow state with our eyes open, so that we're able to then transition right into living from this kind of awake, open-hearted awareness. That's where people say they are at the end of a 7-day meditation retreat.
And you think we can just keep doing these glimpses, you know, in these different, I know this is just one of those modalities, but we can just keep doing those glimpses with the idea that we'd be in this flow state more often.
That's right. Yeah.
And we'd feel more relaxed.
Feel more relaxed, more
peaceful.
capable, more available to emotional feelings without feeling we have to repress them or run away from them or be overwhelmed by them. That actually we can feel what we're feeling, respond, and then respond to people outside. There's just more space, more support. We're operating from a bigger mind, a bigger sense of mind, and a bigger sense of self, or no self, that's a sense of being, whatever you want to call that. There's different traditions that have different language for this, but this is the idea, is that meditation leads to living an awakened life, not just to calm you down so you're living from your ego center in a little more calm, ego-centered way. It's actually to bring you into this compassionate, natural perception where you see other people are your same as you, and you feel like, oh, hello, I see you, and you feel like you can respond better, and you can say yes and no, and you're neither feel, you know, above and below, or that you can't say anything about yourself, or that you have to, you know, say just what you want and that's it. So there's a real wonderful balance. And so the premise is that this dimension of consciousness is already fully here. It's already awake. It's already potentially online, and you just have to do a small glimpse to shift into this, like tuning a channel, like the music is already playing on the radio station of your consciousness. It's silent music, one of the stations that's playing. Tune into silent music, and then tune into awake, living, open-hearted music of the dance of life.
It does feel pretty good.
Yeah.
You
now
know,
you
to
have
like,
a sense of it? Yeah.
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 And there is like a spaciousness, like an openness, and it is calmer and more peaceful.
Yeah.
And so you were saying that these glimpse practices, if we keep doing these practices, that we'll be more in that state.
Yeah.
Is that what people have been experiencing? I mean, I know
Yes.
you've been teaching this a lot over the
Yes.
years.
Yeah, I'm getting letters from and emails from people from around the world who haven't even met me, who are just doing the audio or the practices from the book, saying, my practice has just changed dramatically, or I'm finally able to really do meditation in the midst of my life, for the first time. I've been studying, I've been trying, but now you've just, you've simplified this and given me the essence of it. And so the word in Tibetan for meditation is translated familiarize. So what we're doing is we're shifting into this new dimension that's already here, which is why it's easy or simple or quick or immediate. And then we're able to familiarize or remain or train to remain. And then we lose it and we say, no big surprise, just re-recognize. And then you just come back again until you're familiar, until it becomes second nature. And you really start to retrain your brain. You literally
Creating a new habit or
creating
something.
new habit, new neural networks, so that you're living from an awake consciousness.
So it's just, I mean, it really is just practice.
Yeah, just practice.
And keep doing it over and over
and
and
certain
over
kinds of practice that's a little more direct, what's called direct practice, rather than gradual practice of working up, because most preliminary practices are practices that lead to eventually do this practice, which we're starting with.
I hope this isn't muddying the waters, but do you think it's different than sort of what people have been talking a lot about mindfulness?
It's a type of mindfulness. So in the context of mindfulness, most people are talking about what's called deliberate mindfulness. Then the two next stages that I'm teaching are effortless mindfulness and heart mindfulness. So for deliberate mindfulness, you're working from a meditator that's watching contents of consciousness. And what we're doing is opening the meditator up to look from this effortlessly awake dimension of our being that's effortlessly doing mindfulness, but it's doing mindfulness kind of from within our body rather than from a detached mindful witness.
It's interesting you should say that, because I always actually think it was the opposite.
Yeah.
Because it actually feels like I'm
It's bigger first. First you go bigger. So mindfulness, usually people feel like they're looking from here at contents, or maybe like here at the top looking at contents of consciousness, rather than being in the river of your thoughts. You step outside the river, and this is opening up to big sky mind. So now you're, more space. But then as the space, now you come back into your body, and you feel both simultaneously outside and within, and then you feel as if you're aware of your emotions from within your body, but with the support of something outside. So that's the amazing, that's where you can live from, is that next stage between effortless mindfulness and heart mindfulness. And then you get your heart mind online, where you actually start to feel there's this, it's almost like continuous intuition, that you're able to live without going up and thinking about thinking. You trust that thinking is coming to you, and you're speaking from this non-conceptual kind of intelligence that is what a flow state operates from.
Interesting. It's a good space to be in, I think, right?
Yeah.
So I think we're almost out of time here.
Okay.
But I wanted to give you a moment to sort of maybe a little summary or a little maybe, I don't know, something a little.
I mean, I would just encourage people to find a way of meditation that works. This particular method is small glimpses many times, very short but immediate, and it's a way of giving you benefits of mindfulness. That if it is good for you, it's a great way. But experiment and find a match in all these. There's all these different types of meditations and traditions, and find something that works for you, because it's tremendously beneficial. And it doesn't have to be. You don't have to join a monastery or live in a cave to get the benefits.
Yeah, just find something that works for you and keep, and practice that. Doesn't matter what.
That's right. That's right.
It could be from your books or your stuff or whatever it is.
Or any other thing that works for them. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Kathy.
It was good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you again. Okay.
Great.